Hi, people. Hi. Wow, it's getting sunset here, close here soon, but I'm here to do a video. I wanted to do one earlier, but I couldn't get here to do it. But my friend there, Bette Stevens, have an important message, urgent message, and I want to get it out to people all over if possible. So I'm going to be showing Bette Stevens' message. I'm going to be going over. It's really funny. I just turned the mirror, not the Lord is coming, and it turned on page 218, the angel of Revelation 18. I just showed you guys yesterday. Revelation 18 is where what we going through right now with all the things going on. So I'm going to be just reading a little bit of Revelation 18 from the top part of the first 5 verses that I didn't read yesterday. And then I'm going to go over to BPEarthWatch. He has a chart out about all this stuff going on. And then also a little bit of the president's speech. I hope you guys got to hear some of that. But we got a lot going on. So as we know already, we're in the end at the end. So let me go ahead and go over to those 2 reports. And then I will get over here to Bette Stevens. I tell you, people, it's just a lot going on. So I hope you guys got to hear the President Trump holds a news conference. I'm not going to play a lot of this at all because I don't even know if I could play it. I got my disclaimer up for fair use up, but we can go ahead and play this and BPEarthWatch, and then I'll get over to Bette in that order, okay? And then I will end it here with Revelation. And so that's all I'm going to do for tonight, but I will put some other news in the description box, okay, for you guys to see later. So let me go ahead and mute this out. And
Rose Garden. Appreciate everybody being here. Today I'd like to provide an update to the American people on several decisive new actions we're taking in our very vigilant effort to combat and ultimately defeat the coronavirus. We've been working very hard on this. We've made tremendous progress. When you compare what we've done to other areas of the world, it's pretty incredible. A lot of that had to do with the early designation and the
(2020). Guys, a couple of quick things here. You're looking at a very rapidly decreasing numbers as far as the U.S. is concerned, according to this Johns Hopkins map. Earlier today, it was around 1,700. Now, I don't know if there's a glitch in the system, but it's dropped to 1,268. Now, that's not true on the other map that we're watching over on BPEarthWatch.com, but saying 137,000 infected, 5,088 deaths. So that's slowly rising according to the numbers. But I said yesterday, it's saying China has 80,000 infections, and Hubei has, which is in this area, Hubei, 3,000. You got 1,000 deaths in Italy with 15,000 infected. 11,364 in Iran, 514 deaths. And let me say this. Many have said this is like the flu, and we know it's not. But one of the things that I think is misleading is they're saying the heat of the summer will dampen this thing down some. It gets hotter just like the flu, which it isn't. They say it's just like the flu. It's going to, as summer comes on, get weaker and weaker. But guys, look at Iran. It's very warm in Iran. You got 11,364 people. So we really need to kind of keep an eye on that, and because a lot of people are planning on that happening. Now, let me tell you what I've been doing this today, and that is I've talked to the governor's office here in the state of Mississippi. I talked to the Mississippi State Department of Health and the Board of Education, and they're all getting a lot of calls. And what I was calling about is to urge them to close the schools. They closed the universities here, but the K1 through 12s are even more crowded than that. And so it doesn't make sense. But they say they're getting a lot of calls. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency is going to come out with a statement. They may be waiting on Trump's statement, which is going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern. We may get a national declaration or emergency declaration. But and what I want to do is urge each of you in your state or your area to call. If you're here in Mississippi, you know the numbers. You can look it up online. Any state you can. But do it, guys. This is something that could save a lot of lives. It could save your life. It could save your kids' lives. But right now, the schools are going to become the #1 spreader. They're canceling games and, again, colleges and sports activities and rallies. And that's going to affect everyone but Joe Biden because he never gets over 100 people. But anyway, call. This is what you could do to help stop the spread. Now, let's look at the other map. Now, both are on our website at BPEarthWatch.com. The one we were just looking at from Johns Hopkins is in the red box. And the other one we're watching, which again is just U.S. and Canada, is here in the yellow box. Click there. Guys, and this number right here, 1991 in the U.S., this is rapidly rising today. I've seen it jump 20 to 30 in 15 or 20 minutes time, because it was at 1,700 very early this morning. So you're seeing a very rapid rise in cases. Canada, you got 31 recovered, 41 deaths, 178 confirmed in Canada, 9 recovered, 1 death. Now, you got Trudeau and his wife that are bugging out because of this. But if you'll come down, Alabama, you got your first case. Alaska, you've got one. And with the, you see the orange triangles, these are states that have declared a state of emergency. Again, at 3 p.m. Eastern, Trump's supposed to come online and maybe declare a national emergency. But guys, I want you to make sure that you call your representatives in your Department of Health, Governor's Office, and Department of Education and urge them to close the schools. This is the only way we're going to even come close to stopping this. If like I said, if the colleges are closing down, why would you risk the younger kids? In the report last night, we mentioned that both the U.S. and Canada have kids getting infected from nursery to 8th grade in those levels. So you've just got to, you got to fight. This is your chance. Get on the phones, talk to them, be nice, be professional, get the information. And I talked with a lady at the Mississippi Department of Health today, and she said that we're waiting on the governor's office. And I talked to the Department of Education, and they're saying that it's really up to the individual school districts. So don't forget that. I've put in a call. I haven't gotten a phone call back. It may be because we're in spring break here. Do that. But again, you can get more information. These cases here in Mississippi are all 3 in Forest County, guys. That's the Hattiesburg area. 2 were from people that were in Florida, and 1 is a lady that came in from North Carolina. And each state, you can come here and check this information out. But I'm not sure what's up with Johns Hopkins, but the numbers are rising here. And even deaths are coming off the Johns Hopkins map, guys. Not just the number of infections. So I don't know what that's about. But this particular website, 1.3acres.com, has this map, and it's linked on our website. Guys, please call. It's a heads up. Be safe. March.
Hello, everyone. Let me get around here to you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to A Servant's Heart. Today is Friday, March 13th, 2020. If you are just now hearing and tuning in, I have been instructed to try to go ahead and do a little bit with the shofar. I am not your expert on it. I don't play it that often. My husband does, and a couple of our other people do. We play them, but today it was very, very profound that we play the shofar. Now, what you heard, the Lord had given me the word that it is to declare an urgency of judgment. It's to declare an urgency of judgment upon the land. And now I'm going to go right into part 2 that I referred to on my previous video of part 1. And then we'll talk, and you can feel led to share. When the video is, or I'm sorry, when the shofar is sounded, it is a very serious thing. And I'll just speak about that later. So, again, it was March 6th. I was taken out again at night, same time as the first video, a little after 10 p.m. I went to sleep. I'm out of my body. I'm up. The Lord had told me to come up hither to be with him. The Father was there. But, of course, I am not able to see him. And, again, it was 4 o'clock a.m. when the alarm went off. So, I have been in deep time with the Lord for 2 different nights. My spirit is a lot. The Holy Spirit is speaking. So let me just give it to you really quickly, and then however you want to receive it will be up to you. Again, I am saying, as I always say, take it to the Holy Spirit in prayer. Test the spirits, whatever you need to do. In this hour, it's not wise to not do that. And in this hour, it is crucial not to run with the crowd. You need your time with the Spirit to find out what is truth and what is error. Okay, so I told you about what time I went to bed. Okay, so here it is. The Father continues from where he left off in part 1. So, here we go. The Lord again speaks, and the Father, he is speaking, in his voice is just his voice. It's like a ripple of water. It's just like of many waters when he speaks. He speaks audibly and clearly. And so now he says, where is the church? Now he's in regard to this virus, this pestilence. This is what it is. And he says, where is this church? And immediately he takes me into a quick flash vision of the USA. And in that quick short time, I saw the families, people in different walks of life. I have no idea where we went. This was very quick. There was no given destination or particular city. He just said, look around you and tell me what you see. And so my response back to that was, I see people going into buildings, possibly going into jobs, going to work, going to eat, going out to the store, shops, having lunch. And I saw a lot of people. It seemed that it was focused more on food intake, snacks. And then a lot of people were down there while they're eating with their cell phones or whatever, headsets and that kind of thing, but they were snacking and they were eating. And so I just thought it was very interesting that it was so centered on this, because I didn't really connect it right away. And then the Lord said, in regard to the foods and everything, we are so physically filling our gut, basically, filling our bodies with food, with all the things here, but we're not, we're missing, or we're not taking the time to fill our temples with spiritual food, which is going to be the most important thing that we need. So in other words, the physical food that we have right now, it'll be gone soon. It'll be gone, or it'll be sparingly. It'll be hard to get. But God's spiritual food that he offers to us, his spiritual word, the things that he teaches us, the lessons to be learned, will go on forever, and they will sustain us. I'm telling you, you may think that, oh, I've got to eat, I've got to have that. Well, of course, sensibly, we do need water and everything. And that goes hand in hand with preparation. That is just common sense. Everyone should be doing something of that nature. Only if for no other reason, just to have on hand an emergency. So that if someone is around you or you need it, you'll have it. But the physical food is the least. The spiritual food is what we need to be taking in. Even through all of this, God is calling us to himself. I can't even tell you how much God is calling, how heartbroken he is to see the things that are going on right now during this virus. Now I'm going to go on into this. Okay, that was the vision. Some people might think this is just nonsense or it's not very important, but I can assure you, to God it is, and we need to pay attention. He said to me then, everyone is in fear and panic, and this should not be. He called this virus a travesty. A travesty. He said, this is a travesty. Now, why did he say that? Because, number one, most of us already know it did not come from him. It came from the pits of hell. The originator was Satan. I mentioned this in my first part 1. It is man-made, engineered, but yeah, it's been around and all the stuff that people are saying. But the thing of it is when they added things to it. You know, you don't know what you're getting in this virus. And though everyone may say, oh, this is just like the flu, I'm not saying anything else. Oh, this is not real, you know, this is just to get people in fear. Yes, it is, because there's something bigger coming. So I'm just telling you, there are people dying because of this flu. This is not just, oh, well, these are actors, you know, these are dummies or whatever. Not all of them are. Now, and this is not from me. I am speaking as the Spirit speaks, every word as accurately as possible, because everyone needs to get this. Because in the days ahead, there's going to be very few, but there will be those that speak the truth, and the Spirit of God is in them. And so now he says, you watch, you listen for my call. He is calling some of us to a higher call, to a higher place, being set apart for the assignments. And I said, what is it that I'm listening for in the calls, or something, maybe an addition? And he said, yes, it will shock. Let me see how I put it. It will shock everywhere. That was his words. It will shock everywhere. And that basically, there was a little more. Some of it was personal, some of it was not. And so let me just come in. I don't know what it will be that will shock. When he talked about shocking everywhere, I took that to mean it's going to shock the world. Okay? And it will not, people will not be able to stand on their own opinions or presumptions. They will have no choice but to go to the Word of God. I can tell you that. And what God is saying is, during this time, he is not seeing people coming down on their knees, bowing, pleading, crying, whatever it takes, to get right with him. He's not seeing it. He said, why would people not want to come to him during this time? And it is a good question. He's not mad, but he is concerned about your soul. He's saying there may be some prayer. I'm not going to say that prayer is completely not going on, but the majority of it, it's not having an effect on either God's people or unbelievers. Something of this magnitude, regardless of how you feel about it or what you think you know, would you not go on your knees? We have the word. This is why we're lacking knowledge, people. Many are. Why we are. He sees your heart. This second video, he said, I'm showing the people's hearts. He said, just like it was in Noah's day. We don't know. Noah had to go on his own with his family. And whatever was going on then, did people care? No. They kept right on doing what they wanted to do, not realizing the magnificence of what was about to overtake them. And so he was showing in the first video, part 1, he was just bringing out things. People want to challenge him as to why the virus was allowed to be let out, this kind of thing going on, because it is very serious. And in part 2, now he's bringing out how the hearts are today, just like they were when his son went to the cross, just like it was in Noah's day. They denied him. They went about their own business. And as serious as we're in, nobody hardly is coming to him with their prayers or reading the word or even offering. What he said was to bring them to him. And rather, they're blaming him. A majority of people are blaming him for this. And so in part 1, which is the previous video, and part 2, this video now, God is showing. He's just telling it like it is. He's expressing the truth. He's expressing the hearts as they are. Because you see, none of us knows the heart of anyone. Not really. We don't know. We only can go by what we see. And that's why we have the problems we do. Because we're in the velocity of things, in the things that are going on in the churches and even in private homes with groups and different things. Hey, social media, we're too busy with what everything's going on. How is it going to turn? We don't even know where we are in that Bible prophecy, not really. And the thing about it is this. We're too busy trying to think we know and have everything worked out. We're trying to condition God to be the way we want him to be. And God's not doing it. And because God is not subject to man. God does not have to submit to man. We submit to him. And so many are so busy being put out there by trying to push everything on everybody else and beating them down and calling out names and name calling and bringing in derision and bringing in distress and just bringing in and making the division of the church wider and even falsely accusing people, and they don't even know them. They don't know what people are going through. They don't know what circumstances exist in their life. So the enemy uses that, and people think it's fine. People think that's fine. God doesn't. That's why he brought me out to see this business. He said, all this is going on right now. A lack of spiritualness is going on. Because people don't feed their spiritual body, their spiritual temple. Rather, they feed it with the physical. They make sure to take care of their physical body, the physical part. So, you know, it is something to really ponder and think about. Because it's very easy to jump up and say, oh, that's not me. I don't ever do that. That doesn't pertain to me. Or, look at that one over there. Look what she said, or he said, or they're not right, or they're not Christian, or they didn't see this, or they didn't. You don't know, because you're not God. And because God is God all by himself. That's why we're not God and he is. And so, in closing, you know, I don't know what all is going to go on. I just know this virus, there's something under. I do know that from the Lord. Something very more serious under here. And it's not a virus. I can tell you that. It isn't the virus at all. I know some people think it's the flu and everything. No, this is something that is much more serious, that it will shock everywhere. The other thing I wanted to tell you is this, and like I said, I'm not even going to get on the defensive. I'm just going to say it. You do as you like about it, because each one of us is in the process of working out our own salvation continually with fear and trembling. We are in the tribulation. What the Lord did put on my spirit, we are getting ready. We are getting ready to head into a very most serious and devious, horrific time that the world has ever seen. And because a lot of us are not feeding our spiritual body, we are going to lack the requirements of spiritual warfare. A little rebuke is not going to do it. And we have to get up, and the Lord's saying, rise up and get up and be the army of Christ, be his people that we proclaim we be, and rise up and put these demons in their place. And so, this is a call. We are in tribulation. Much more further along than what people think. And I'm not afraid to say it. Maybe others might think that they are, or maybe they've thought about it, and people basically dance around it, but I'm going to bring it out because it's the truth. Whether people like to agree with it or not, I'm not here. He says in his word, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. Yes, my yea is I all now know and already know we are in the tribulation. And we are getting ready to see horrific things happen. This thing with the virus is just one of many. And instead of panic and fear, we should sensibly be doing whatever we can to protect others and ourselves, and we should be getting in the Word. And we should be doing what we need to do and not necessarily what everybody else is doing. And above all, listening to whatever the Spirit is telling us. That's all I'm going to say. I've given what I needed to give. It was very important. And it's going to devastate a lot of you because you're not ready. But I want to tell you this. I want to leave you with this. In spite of all of that, of what I just said, again, I'm not going to go out in a long limb. If you are unsaved, if you are not walking with Christ, if you are needing to lean on him, if you need prayer, if you're lukewarm, if the Spirit is speaking to you, then I implore you to come to him. You don't have to be in a church. building. You can meet him anywhere. I urge all of us, even those that are already seasoned, baptized, everything, I urge us to go very deep in the Scriptures. The Lord has told me that for many years. Go deeper than that, deeper. Because what is happening is when reading Scriptures, we're looking at it from a physical thing, physical perspective instead of a spiritual one. So that's all I can tell you. I'm not going to say anything else. But please know, God does love you. Give your heart and life to him. Come to him now. Jump in the boat, as they say, with him. Follow him. Have a Bible. And just bask in him. Go to the Spirit. Have a relationship. That's all he's asking. Have a relationship with him. Ask him your questions. Seek him. As people, we don't have all the answers. But he does. He does. He has all of this in his control. Nothing gets by him. And there's not going to be too many more warnings coming from anyone. But we need to learn to do our prayers. And to really, really step them up. Step our prayers up. Believe what we read in the Word. We've become lax. We're a people that have become lax in the church. Lacking power. Lacking wisdom and knowledge. Lacking the fear of the Lord, which is Yahushua HaMashiach. And we're all busy with calling people out and calling names, and you should do this and you should be doing that, and this isn't right and this isn't right, and you aren't this and you aren't that, and we're so busy. It's like we are cracking a whip, like we are the judge, jury, and executioner all in one. And that is definitely not how the Lord works. And definitely that is not how Yeshua worked either. His compassion is here. To turn your eyes away from the world and get them back on him. Get them back on Yeshua HaMashiach. Get things in order now. And this is what he has told me. Tell my people, and even those that aren't, my arms are wide open. I have not forsaken you. I have not forgotten you. Everybody is in their own place of where they need to be. Not everybody's heart is ready to in the same place that maybe you are. God does have mercy, and he works with each one of us where we are. And regardless of what is coming, God is still going to be there to take us through. To take us through to the other side in victory. So, with that being said, let God reign in all things. One more last thing I want to give real quick, because I want to encourage you all, and I want to see you all where God is. Let him be your guide. Let the Holy Spirit be your guide. Let him walk with you. Talk with him. Wow. I'm going to give you the scriptures that go with us right now. I will have them posted and with our website as well, as always, in the description box below. 1 John 4:4. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And Luke 3, I believe it's 4 and 5. I'm doing this off memory. the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be brought low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways be made smooth. And on that note, I'm going to say shalom. We continue to pray. We continue to do as much fasting as we are able. Get into the place and seek him where he would have you be and what he wants to do in your life. And know that we love you, we care, and we want you to be blessed. But please, God is going to get us through this period. He is going to get us through this period. But we have to understand that it's not over. But God is with us. He is forever God, forevermore. He is there forevermore. And we need to know this. And the way you will know him is through his word and through intimacy in your prayer time, and establishing a personal relationship with him. So God bless all of you. I will keep you posted as the Lord allows me. As I told you, we are busy in some working things. I was told by the Lord, that my husband and I, we were looking at going out, but even to do some ministry, and the Lord told us no for March. He just told us no, you are to stay put. And I'm beginning to see some things coming up soon. And so God is wise. He knows somewhat better than we do ourselves. So we are staying put right now for this month. We'll see what happens as we go. God is speaking. He is directing our paths if we let him. Nothing gets by him. Please establish your relationship. If you're not there yet, ask him. He will help you. He will receive you. He will hear your cries. Don't give up. Don't turn back. This is not the time for that. The enemy is rising with his evil. This is the time that God's people needs to rise up. We have the power. We have his word. We should know anyway, how to take down the kingdom of darkness. Please, people, pray, if nothing else. God bless all of you. Until the next time.
Okay, people, I'm going to go over here to the Bible, and I'm going to read just 5 or 6 verses of the fall of Babylon. I read 18, 5 to 24 yesterday. I'm just going to read the verses I didn't read yesterday, read them now, and I'm going to go over to some other things I want to show you. The fall of Babylon. After these things I saw another angel coming down from heaven, having great authority, and the earth was illuminated with his glory. And he cried mightily with a loud voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a dwelling place of demons, a prison for every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hated bird. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth have become rich through the abundance of her luxury. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues, for her sins have reached to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Render to her just as she rendered to you, and repay her double according to her works. In the cup which she has mix double for her. And I'm going to just stop there because I read most of it yesterday, but you need to go and read Revelation 17 and 18. And I'm going to go on over here now to Ellen White. I want to just mention some things here before I go to Maranatha. The Lord is coming. Ellen White, the final movements. She said this back in her day, and she thought it was in her day, but it was for our day. I really believe that more than ever, as my friend Charles Wheelan always saying, she thought it was in her time, but it was for our time. Ellen White said the final moments will be rapid ones, will be rapid ones. So it says here, the present, I'm just going to read some of this. The present is a time of overwhelming interest to all living, rulers and statesmen, men who occupy positions of trust and authority, thinking men and women of all classes have their attention fixed upon the events taking place about us. They are watching the relations that exist among the nations. They observe the intensity that is taking possession of every earthly element, and they recognize that something great and decisive is about to take place, that the world is on the verge of a stupendous crisis. Coming from Prophets and Kings, the calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, the alarms of war are portentous. They forecast approaching events of the greatest magnitude. The agencies of evil are combining their forces and consolidating. They are strengthening for the last great crisis. Great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final moments will be rapid ones. And that's coming from Ellen G. White. And I'm just going to read a little bit more, then I'm going to get over to Maranatha, where he's talking about the angel of Revelation 18. The angel of Revelation 18. Okay, so it says here, troublesome times soon to come. The time of trouble, which is to increase until the end, is very near at hand. We have no time to lose. The world is stirred with the spirit of war. The prophecies of the 11th of Daniel have almost reached their final fulfillment. Review and Herald, November 24, 1904. The time of trouble such as was not since there was a nation, coming from Daniel 12:1, is wrapped upon us, and we are like the sleeping virgins. We are to awake and ask the Lord Jesus to place underneath us his everlasting arms and carry us through the time of trial before us. Okay, the world is becoming more and more lawless. Soon great trouble will arise among the nations. Troubles that will not cease until Jesus comes. The Review and Herald again. We are on the very verge of the time of trouble, and perplexities that are scarcely dreamed of are before us. Testimonies for the Church. We are standing on the threshold of the crisis of the ages. In quick succession, the judgments of God will follow one another. Fire and flood and earthquake with war and bloodshed. Prophets and Kings. There are stormy times before us, but let us not utter one word of unbelief or disencouragement. And I'm going to stop there. I will put this link in the description box, and you can go and read the whole thing if you want. Very amazing stuff that she had to say about end times. As she says here, God has always warned of coming judgments. And so we need to know that we are in judgments. And as Bette just said, tribulation is approaching. We need to be getting ready. We need to be getting ready, people, getting ready. I'm going to go on over here and end this video now with